You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Every single time, man, something goes wrong. I wanted Donovan Mitchell in New York. I shut my mouth. I didn't say a word. I didn't say a word because I didn't want to blow it. I didn't want to get in the way. You got about 7 or 8 first-round picks. You got R.J. Barrett, you got Julius Randle, you got Toppin, you got Emmanuel Quickly, and you still couldn't get Donovan Mitchell. You still couldn't get him. So once again, we're going to go into another season, and the New York Knicks are devoid of a star. They're somewhere other than in a New York Knicks uniform. See, this is what I'm trying to say, man. They make me sick. Nothing ever gets done in New York with the Knicks. Nothing. Nothing.
So to this point, I'm sure all of you know who Stephen A. Smith is. He's a Knicks fan. Well, to this point, I don't even know if he is a Knicks fan because the thing about Stephen A. is he has millions of dollars and doesn't go to Knicks games. For me, dude, I would love to go to Knicks games. If I had season Knicks tickets, that'd be the coolest thing ever. Madison Square Garden, get to see R.J. Barrett and all the young guys. The Knicks are definitely in for a good season. They're going to be competing for a playoff spot in a deep East that got significantly better this offseason. But I do believe that the Knicks, with the addition of Jalen Brunson and hopefully Randall can get back to his old self and RJ can take the next step, I do believe the Knicks are going to be much better. And they kept all their picks and assets. So Donovan Mitchell is an undersized guard. He's obviously not a good defender. Does he make players better? That's the question. I mean, I would have loved Donovan Mitchell, but the only reason a guy like a Stephen A. would have wanted Donovan Mitchell is so that he can have a star in New York and go to games and get excited. But the Knicks, they really weren't much farther ahead with Donovan Mitchell. I don't even know if they would have been farther ahead. I mean, you're telling me that Donovan Mitchell is going to be the type of player, like, so let me put it this way. So who do you have more faith in, Donovan Mitchell or RJ Barrett? Remember, RJ's just turned 22 years old. RJ is one of the youngest guys in the league. If you look at players before the age of 22 that put up 3,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 200 made threes, Luka, Tatum, Durant, and LeBron. RJ Barrett has a lot of potential. He honestly has superstar type of potential. He's very underrated, which kind of blows my mind because he plays in New York. He plays for the Knicks. You'd think he'd get the attention, but he really doesn't. So with this addition of Jalen Brunson, I'm hoping that Coach Tibb can start to realize about this how young this team is and really start to capitalize on it and develop it. I do think that the Knicks are better off building through the young guys and future assets and making moves than they are if they had pulled that Donovan Mitchell trade. I mean, the Cavaliers had the luxury to be able to do that because they have the stars and the firepower around Mitchell, but the Knicks don't have that, especially without RJ and Quickly. They really would have nothing. I mean, Mitchell Robinson, it would have been Obi Toppin. You would have had to give them Quentin Grimes. You can see we would have just lost a ton of depth. So I like the Cavs package. If you think about it, it wasn't that great. Like, sure, you get picks, you get a rookie who hasn't even played, by the way. You get Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton. Like, think about that. That's not that great. But the Cavs definitely, like, they gave up a ton, but I mean, the Utah Jazz, they basically got a bunch of picks and no All-Stars for 2 All-Stars. So that's what it comes down to. I think the Knicks are better off just fully developing RJ Barrett. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Obviously, my favorite player on this team. Don't forget about Cam Reddish. Definitely don't forget about Jericho Sims. Some of these guys, we got to see Sims. Like, Sims made like 2 starts, I think, last season. He played, but I do think that we have a really good young team. And the fact that we will be in the playoffs, I know a lot of Knicks and NBA fans do not think we will make the playoffs. That's kind of crazy to me just because we already have an elite defense. All we were missing was a point guard, someone to run the offense to make things easier. So you add in an elite point guard. Jalen Brunson is definitely an elite point guard. I'm not saying he's in that top tier, but he's the type of player that can give you 20 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds on good splits. He'll shoot 47% from the field. He'll shoot 38, 39% from 3. And then free throw, obviously, he'll be over 80%. I don't know exactly what he shot last season, but Brunson's also young. He'll still be in his prime when his contract ends. He played very well in the playoffs, so we know that when it matters most, Jalen Brunson is going to be effective. I mean, a starting lineup of Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson, Or if we do trade Randall, and then we go with Brunson, Grimes, RJ Toppin, and Mitch, I'd be fine with I guess either of those. You really can't complain about the Knicks. I feel like if you are not happy, this is obviously an opinion, but if you are not happy with the state of the current Knicks, like how are you actually a fan? Because so many people complain about the Knicks and how they always make these trades and are never ready and they never want to actually build and things like that. But then that same person is complaining about how we don't have Mitchell or how we're not gonna make the playoffs or how the Knicks will never have a star. The Knicks have young players and picks. They can wait for another disgruntled star. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This was just reported on a couple hours ago. He's a guy that the Knicks are watching. If Shai ends up wanting out of OKC, the Knicks could trade for him. The Knicks have enough assets. They could bring in Shai. Shai RJ. That would be a crazy duo, man. Shai's a good young player, of course, over there in Oklahoma City. Outside of that, the Knicks is just kind of a wait and see type of game, but I can pretty much assure you that the Knicks will be good next season. They're not going to be a top 3 seed or anything like that, but I do think the Knicks could get up as high as 5. And I do think the lowest the Knicks will finish is the 8th seed. I really don't see the Knicks missing the playoffs. They're going to be very good. And the Knicks games, like, you definitely want to go, man. I mean, they're always going to be sold out because it's MSG, but Knicks games are going to be extremely exciting because it's just a type of era that we haven't really seen for the Knicks. Like, oh, let's look at R.J. Barrett and Mitchell Robinson and Quickly and Grimes and Toppin and McBride and Jericho Sims. Oh yeah, we drafted all of them in the first or the second round. So we basically drafted our whole team. Can we develop them now? Like, why do we need Donovan Mitchell? Why do we need to go out there and trade for a star? Why can't we just develop our team and actually do things the right way for once? Look at Memphis, bro. Look at New Orleans Pelicans. Look at Boston. They drafted their team and now they're developing them. And those teams are like some of the best in the NBA. But yeah, the Knicks, oh, we're in New York. We need to sign free agents. We need to go out there and start training for stars. Like, no, just let's see what our guys got. That's why obviously Obi Toppin should be starting, but we need to at least get Randall out there, make sure he's in shape, play well, and then trade him when he has more value. Because right now we'd have to attach a first round pick to get rid of him. That is not going to get it done. A guy that put up 2010 and 5 last season, we have to give them a pick to take him. I'm good on that. So yeah, it's your boy Knicks Daily, double upload. If I repeated some things, let me know from the last video. I'm sure I did, but yeah, Stephen A. I have a lot of respect for Stephen A. I mean, dude, my dream would be to become like him. I'm not gonna say he's a clown or anything like that, but was that a clown take? Yes, it was. That was a clown take by Stephen A. Smith. The Knicks are in a good spot. I'll go as far as saying that they couldn't be in a better spot. The Knicks are gonna be really good this season, bro.